Welcome everyone back to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2023 Toyota Camry TRD. So this is part of the 8th generation that was produced between 2018 and 2024, with the 9th generation coming out in 2024 as well. So the end of this and the beginning of the new generation began in the same year. And this is part of the TRD program that has been used on other vehicles that we've had on this game, and TRD stands for Toyota Racing Development. So we've had TRD vehicles before with the likes of the 4Runner, the Tundra and the Tacoma, but this is arguably the most sporty version of a TRD vehicle that we've had so far, given those other vehicles are either SUVs or pickup trucks. Weirdly though, it does share the same engine with the Tacoma, although this is slightly more powerful. And the TRD aspect not only gives you more power from the biggest engine you can get from this generation, but it also gives you more bodywork. So yeah, you've got a body kit on the go, so you've got a front splitter, side air skirts, side skirts, whatever you want to call them. Then you've got a rear spoiler, you've also got a rear diffuser, you've got twin exhausts, you've also got sportier suspension and a sports exhaust as well. And you've also got TRD badged interior to go alongside with it. On top of that, you've got the red accenting, which is part of TRD's thing. So you've got red brake calipers, red accenting along the bodywork there on the bottom, and then that continues on the inside because you've even got red seat belts, as you can see, along with red stitching on the seats. So they've really gone all out, and then you've even got more red stitching along the dashboard, on the gear lever, and such. So yeah, all very nice in terms of the interior. I like the sweeping line that goes from the behind the steering wheel all the way around down to the bottom of the passenger seat. I like the look of that. And yeah, got a load of buttons. It's not just about the touch screen or any screen at all, really, to be honest. It's just more about the buttons and having as much of it being focused on the driver. But that does not mean it's not practical, as you've got plenty of room in the back for your passengers. So yeah, this isn't a full-size sedan or saloon car from Toyota. The Avalon is their flagship, full-size sedan. But this is still plenty spacious enough, as you can see. Again, more TRD accenting on the inside of the boot, even, which does show that it put some effort in, because it's very easy just to forget about the boot a lot of the time when it comes to designing a car. You just think of it as a luggage space and to hell with anything else. But yeah, it's nice that they've done that. Like I said, this has got the largest engine of the generation in this vehicle, so it's a 3.5 litre V6 engine producing 301 horsepower and 267 pounds-feet of torque. So that's 2 extra pounds-feet of torque over the Tacoma and 23 extra horsepower over that car as well. Like I said, we share the same engine as that vehicle, but unlike that car, we're only front-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive, which is a bit weird considering more than 300 horsepower through the front wheels. Typically only that's kind of for hot hatchbacks, and even then some hot hatchbacks over 300 horsepower have all-wheel drive. So it seems a little bit half-assed in terms of that regard to not give it all-wheel drive, but that would have at the end of the day added more weight, and this car is hardly a lightweight at 3,575 pounds. So yeah, I guess the compromise there is less weight, but maybe slightly less in terms of handling at the front. But still, this is the last ever Camry generation to have a V6. The 9th generation that replaced this doesn't have a V6. I think the most it has is a 2 litre or 2.5 litre inline 4, usually with hybrid technology being the mix. So yeah, it's a bit of a last of the big engine Camrys, to be honest, which is a bit of a shame because this does have a fairly sporty feel to it. But to see how sporty it is, let's get out onto the open road and see what it can do. Right, so here we are at the drag strip, so let's see what this car can do before we hit the track. And yeah, obviously, as once again, we're going to see what it can do before we get the speed camera. So yeah, we don't have the biggest of run-ups, but this car should make good use of that run-up regardless. So yeah, not a low revving engine by any means, at nearly 7,000 RPM, which is nice to see. And yeah, it's got a good gearbox on it. I'm pretty sure it's an automatic, but it's not, one with a million different gears on it. So yeah, nearly 115 miles an hour there, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it doesn't really feel like the front-wheel drive aspect of this car is letting the side down. Sure, it might well be quicker with all-wheel drive, especially off the line, but yeah, for the most part, the car seems to deal with the power going through the front wheels really rather nicely. Guess it helps that you don't have a turbocharger added on. You know, providing a load of torque at certain points to, you know, put the wheels out of whack. But yeah, definitely would have been a pretty all-round better all-rounder with all-wheel drive, to be honest, even if it would add the extra bit of weight. But still, let's take a look at the stats. So we're in low-end B class, which is pretty decent for a car of this amount of power. As you can see, 60% of the weight is up front, though, being front-wheel drive, so it is quite nose-heavy. But stat-wise, it's fairly good. Only side that's been let down really is the braking. Launch isn't the best, but that's to be expected from a 300 horsepower front-wheel drive car. But the acceleration, handling, and speed are all fairly solid. And yeah, at the end of the day, it feels like a very planted vehicle when it comes to cornering. But obviously, we'll see how well it does in terms of handling on this track. So yeah, we've never had the Camry in the likes of the UK before, at least not with the name. We might have had a rebadged version. So yeah, it's kind of weird to have a car that we've never had in the UK before, but that's part of the course really with a lot of cars that are either mainly sold in America or Asia or Australia. But nonetheless, let's hear what this car sounds like and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, on the whole the engine sounds pretty good, to be honest. It's nice to have a naturally aspirated large engine. This is something that Toyota have done with their Lexus division before and since, with their you know, likes of the LC500 or the RCF, where they've given them naturally aspirated engines that are quite large. Obviously that might well no longer be the case nowadays with the way that things are going. Certainly isn't the case for the Camry, because obviously the V6 has been dropped, but still it's a nice enough sounding engine. Handling wise, yeah, it's obviously got some understeer with all of that weight up front. You know, 60% of the weight being up front is bound to induce some understeer, but it's manageable. And yeah, at the end of the day, all you need to really do is back off a little bit, and yeah, the car will bring itself around. So yeah, perfectly good in terms of handling, even if not being particularly fun. Braking wise, I know the stats are on the down low side, but for a car of this kind of performance, the brakes are fine. They're not the, you know, high class in terms of sports saloons, but then again, this is not a high class sports saloon at the end of the day. It's never going to be meant to be competing against Audi, BMW or Mercedes, but yeah, it's, as far as front wheel drive sporty saloons go, the brakes are perfectly adequate. Acceleration wise is pretty good as well for a car of this type. At 0 to 16, 5.615 seconds. 0 to 100 is dealt with in 13.916 seconds, and given enough room, it'll get up to 171 miles an hour. So yeah, all in all, fairly good in terms of its performance. It's just a fairly solid all-rounder in terms of a lot of the ways, to be honest. It's plenty practical enough for a saloon car. I'm sure it's not going to be as competitive in that regard as an SUV, but as far as saloons go, it's pretty good. And then you've got pretty decent sports saloons, you know, performance on the go as well. So yeah, nothing radical. It's certainly not reinventing the wheel or anything like that. And you can definitely do better in terms of sports saloons out there. In terms of front-wheel drive sports saloons, I kind of prefer the MGM 7 a little bit more. That is also front-wheel drive. Has a little bit less power than this, and I think it's weighing in about the same. But I think the looks on that are just that bit more striking. And it's a bit more unusual, I guess, to have an MG over a Toyota at the end of the day, even if a Camry isn't available in the UK, as far as, yeah, those kind of vehicles go. But yeah, as far as sports saloons go, you can do a lot worse, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's a fun all-rounder, even if it's not particularly spectacular. But TRD have done wonders with the handling, and the power plant and the general look of the car. And yeah, it does really look the part, quite frankly. It's not often that I say that about a modern Toyota in terms of looks, but it does actually look fairly decent. So yeah, on the whole, pretty good. And you can get this car for 20 points in the current festival playlist, and it's well worth getting, especially since it's a car we've never had before. We've not had a Camry since the original Forza Motorsport days, so yeah, it's nice to finally have one back in the Forza series. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.